Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is F1 2018. It's week 44 of competition. You may notice that there is no audio besides my voice that you're hearing here. So for the third time in the history of the channel, in over 500 videos recorded, I've had a video failure. The other two times that it happened, one, I lost the video entirely and had to go back and delete and ended up with nothing for that week. The second time, I lost most of the video and I was able to recover just a little bit of it. And I ended up kind of bumping things up a week for that series and making it happen. All three times it's been different games. And it's been quite a while. It's been quite a few months since the last time. So anyway, no game audio, just my audio. That is going to be the case throughout the video, and it is also why I've shortened this video a bit. However, I'm covering two races here, and I felt it was really important that I still get them in. So if you feel up to it, please stick with the video. Watch all the way to the end as we are visiting Spa and then heading to Monza in this episode. So here we are now at Q1, and I am currently in P17 going out for a second lap. And you can see at this point I am about 3/10 or just shy of 3/10 up on my first lap time earlier in the session. And I come into the final chicane here, and I brake way too early, but I make it back up as I dive over, but I get massive oversteer as I come out, and I end up just 7/100ths of a second better than where I was the first time. So in Q1 here, Lewis Hamilton was fastest, Ricciardo was second fastest, quite a few cars were on the soft tires, but I only managed to go 17th fastest, which is actually still a second better than my teammate Sorokin. So that at least was something, but I'm going to start the race in P17. Here I'm choosing a new rival after winning my last rivalry, and I'll be taking Brendan Hartley. Quick look at the car, and you can see it's been a couple races since I've had any upgrades. I've got two major upgrades that are coming for the next race. You can see some of the midfield cars have made some steady improvement, but with that we're going to head to the race, the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa-Francorchamps. And there's Eau Rouge, a massive part of the track. And no, it is not raining, it is overcast. It is heavily overcast. It looks like it's actually a bit foggy down on the track. And you can see this track is in the middle of the Ardennes forest. And there's some definite elevation changes. One in particular that is really key to this race. So Sebastian Vettel is on the pole with his teammate Kimi Räikkönen. So Ferrari front row lockout. Bottas is third. Ocon 6th. Hamilton with a penalty down in 7th. Ricciardo and Verstappen are 8th and 9th. The Renault's just outside of the top 10. Gasly 16th, I'm in 17th, Hartley 18th, Sorokin 19th, and Ericsson, after a penalty, will start in P20. For the race, I'm going with the reverse setup, starting on the softs, then going to the faster super softs for the final 5 laps of this one. I've got enough fuel for 2 extra laps so that I can really up the fuel load later in this race. I'm really hoping to close down and race hard at the end. Early on, my goal is to just survive. But with that, we are at Spa and we are going to go racing. So we've got 5 lights are up and they're ready to go out. I'm looking at the back end of Van Dorn and the lights are out and we go racing. just a hair of traction loss, but otherwise an excellent start. And I'm going to go 3 wide to the inside, braking hard, dive to the inside of 4 or 5 cars, and now I've got Grosjean on my left side, and I'm just outside of top 10. Now to the top 10. We were 3 wide there for a moment, and I'm getting just ahead here in Eau Rouge, and I lose traction. Oh, there goes my wheel. Now, if you've watched the channel before, I have a limited amount of flashbacks available, and that was my first of 2 for the race. Originally, at the beginning of the season, I was allowed 3 as the AI was in the 70 range, but every time I score in the points, I increase the AI difficulty level as I get better and better at the game. Learning how, you can see that Ricciardo overtakes me here for P9. That drops me down to P10. We're still here in lap number 1, and only about halfway through this first lap of the Grand Prix. You can see things are still pretty tight at the front as they're all stacked up nose to tail. Moving forward a little bit towards the back end of lap number 1, I get a poor run out of there, and Grosjean closes right in on me here as we go through the final chicane to end lap number 1 in P10. Anyway, on the flashbacks, so as the AI increases to 80, I drop to 2. At 90, I drop to 1. And right now, I am on AI difficulty level 86 after starting on 70 at the beginning of the season. So on 86, I am allowed 2 flashbacks. That was 1 already on lap number 1. So could be a long day. So still here on lap 2, you can see Verstappen's already heading into the pits. So I'm going to move up a position there, but otherwise I'm staying pretty close to Ricciardo, and I've got a little bit of a gap now to Grosjean. And I brake late here, ever so slightly. If there weren't cars there, I would have missed the apex, but I definitely wouldn't have missed the turn. But I end up hitting Hamilton right in the gearbox, taking a bit of damage to my wing. The left front side of the wing is pretty badly damaged, and it's going to slow me down. So Hamilton's ahead of me now. Sainz moves around me. I'm definitely having to brake a lot harder to get around these corners as I've lost a lot of downforce. It's not a terminal kind of damage, but here you can see that I'm confirming the strategy change. So I am going to go ahead and switch to the medium tire to go to the end of the race. So I'm going from soft to medium instead of soft to super soft. Alonso has gotten around me. Here comes the next car, Leclerc. And Leclerc, we touch not once but twice. No, 3 times we touch. And Leclerc finally gets away. And no warning for me. So Leclerc is the one who picks up that warning. Possibly some sort of penalty as he first hit my left front. Then he hit the already damaged wing 2 times as we go through there. And you can see I've got the pace, I just can't turn. And finally we head into that chicane. You can see I'm braking very early to get into it. And we head into the pits on just lap 3, way early compared to when I was supposed to pit. But here we go. So that was originally from P10, but I was going back after the damage to the wing at turn 1. New wing getting put on the during the pit stop, and that is a 7-second stop. So I lose about 4.5 seconds changing the wing, but that's not bad. Most of the time I lost was taking one long lap around the track without any downforce. And I come out in last place, P20. Hulkenberg, you can see him just off in the distance there. And we head back out on the track. Lap number 4. So a lap later now, lap number 5, I have passed Ricciardo by a minute. So Ricciardo had a problem on that last lap, and he comes out in last place after pitting, and I move up 1 spot here on lap 5. Let's see that I'm now chasing Gasly, who was passed by Hulkenberg there on the mini-map. Here on lap 6, we can see lots of cars now coming into pit. my teammate included. And there is my teammate Sorokin. He comes out just in front of me. I've got the speed coming out of turn 1 while he's just coming out of the pit, so I'm ahead of him for now through Eau Rouge. But Eau Rouge is a tough one for me. I have to get off the gas, otherwise I lose the traction there. That quick change in elevation is so hard. That's why I had to use that first one. I go ahead and brake late here. I've got Sorokin to the inside, and it works. I keep the position. So he made a move. He got around me, got ahead, but I was able to overcome that. So now in P16 here on lap 7, so 1 lap later, at just about the same place. Here's that braking zone where I was able to stay ahead of Sorokin on the last lap. He's nowhere to be seen. So, in fact, he's now been passed by Hartley in the same place where I just held him off on the previous lap. So we jump to lap number 10 now, the penultimate lap of the race, and Sebastian Vettel out of the race with 1 lap to go. So I'm in P16 here, and Sebastian Vettel is out of the race. I had passed Ericsson on a late pit stop. That's what moved me up that spot. But here on the final lap, and I've finally made my way past Vettel, I can see that there was some damage there. Another car was caught up in that besides Vettel as well. I forget who it was, but I moved around them and moved up to P14. Race winner is Kimi Räikkönen. And I'm heading down the last time. And see, that was the only warning I picked up the whole race, actually. Well, besides when I hit Hamilton's gearbox. But that's going to be P14 here in Spa. So not a great result, but not a terrible result. I wasn't in the points, but there's your winner, Kimi Räikkönen. And second is Bottas, and Verstappen takes P3 in the race. Sainz picks up 4th place. Ocon is 5th. Hamilton only manages P6. He might have taken some damage from where I hit him, but Sainz, good performance to get P4 after starting in 12th place. Sebastian Vettel, his lead is down to just 3 points over now Bottas. Hamilton drops to 3rd, but is only 5 points out of the championship lead. Räikkönen is only 20 points down in 4th place. I am still in 11th with 25 points. I've been there for a little while now. Sorokin is still the only driver in the field yet to score a point. So Force India overtakes McLaren in this one to go P6 in the Constructors with 45 points. But Ferrari is just 12 points down on Mercedes for the Constructors' Championship. Looking at the bottom end of the standings for the race, I ended up in P14. Hartley 15. Sorokin finishes in 16th. Gasly in 17th with a penalty there at the end. Ricciardo way behind after he took 2 pit stops and took some pretty heavy damage there. And post-race, I've picked up enough R&D points to make another upgrade to the aero department efficiency. So that's the 4th one, just 1 upgrade left to go on the department efficiency there until I can start knocking that out. But here, big news coming. Next year's regulations. I've been hearing whispers around the paddock that the governing body are looking likely to vote through regulation changes for next year. Primarily, it's going to be aero department, but they're not sure what else. So, there is potentially some some changes coming, some resets to the R&D department for next year, and specifically to the aero department, which I haven't made any upgrades except for to the department efficiency. So we'll see how that works out. But as I head into the next race weekend in Monza, the major upgrades are on the car now, but Toro Rosso has also picked up major upgrades, as has Sauber and McLaren and the Force India. The Williams have all made upgrades. The only ones that have not are Renault. So as much as I gain a bunch of ground, I don't actually gain much ground at all heading into this race. So it's nice to have these upgrades, but I'm still just as far behind. And with that, we head to Monza, and we jump right into Q1. And this is my second run. My first run, I was in P18, and we can see I'm half a second up on my time at this point as we head around. I lose a little bit of time here on the final corner, but I'm still 0.4 of a second up on my first lap time. And I jump up to P14 with 9 seconds left in the session. So everybody else could be out on hot laps still. And I'm going to head back to the garage. We'll see where I end up. Sirotkin amazingly goes P2. How he pulled that off, I have no idea. We are definitely dealing with a little bit of weather conditions here at Monza in Italy. But Sirotkin, P2. Cannot believe it. So shocking. And Perez, P1, by the way, as well. So none of the big six end up there. But I hang on, P15. And look at that. Max Verstappen tries to qualify on the soft tire. Does not make it out of Q1. So Max Verstappen starting in the back of the grid. But I just squeezed through to Q2. And I already used 2 sets of Super Softs. So I'm going to head out on my final set of Super Softs here early in this one. And you might have caught a quick glimpse there that rain is coming. And as I head out on the track here right at the beginning, it's already raining before the end of my lap. So it was getting pretty slippy by the end of that first lap. But I hang on for an okay time. But the track conditions are quickly worsening, and here again looking at that, you can see that the rain, it says that it's overcast right now, but clearly the rain was already coming. So by the time I head back to the garage, I'm in P9, Sirotkin P7, but in a matter of seconds I'm already dropping to P10, Sirotkin down to P8, and there you go. I'm outside of the top 10, and with the rain falling, the times are just going to get slower and slower. Pretty much guaranteed. So I'm looking at P12 right now. Probably not going to make it into Q3, but there is Sirotkin right now in P10. What a phenomenal job from him. He's managed to actually already even managed to get 2 laps in. He's 0.8 of a second up on me. Ricciardo is right there ahead of me in P11. But I'm going to take a look at the rain conditions. You can see that it's definitely raining now. So it's light rain, but it's raining. All 3 sets of Super Softs have been used. So I try to head back out, and this is as I try to get the lap going. You can see I'm just sliding all over the place. It is too wet, so by the time I get around to start a second flying lap, it's not happening. Like, I can't even get any grip coming off the final corner just to start the hot lap. So I head back into the pits, and that's that. P12 for the race. So here we are for the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. So Ferrari's home race. But it's clear today, so the rain did not follow us into the race day. And here's the layout of the track. Monza is the fastest track on the Formula One calendar. It is essentially nothing but straights and a few quick chicanes. So you pretty much have 1 sweeping straight and then 3 full-on straights. Hamilton ends up on the pole with Bottas second, so a Mercedes lockout this time. Raikkonen is there in third. Alonso 7th, Sirotkin P9, Ricciardo P10, Vettel takes a penalty to drop to P12, which puts me up to P11. Verstappen in 16th, and Hartley's going to start from the back after taking a penalty with Gasly in 19th. And I'm going to go with the same strategy from the last race. Softs to super softs, but the super softs can last a while, so I'm going to try to go 7 laps on them, and only a little bit of extra fuel this time, as I feel like I'm a little bit more competitive than I was in the last race. Qualifying was hard to follow because of the weather. Threw things off, but with that, we are in Monza, and we're ready to go racing. So we've got 5 lights, they're up, they're ready to go out. Sorokin right in front of me, my teammate, qualifying inside the top 10, and we are now going racing. Decent start here. I lose just a little bit, about a car length, but otherwise I'm in a good position. Hopefully I don't slam into the back of anyone. I've already got Vettel up beside me. Vettel's making a move to the inside now of Sorokin, and I'm getting squeezed off here by Leclerc. Leclerc has pushed me off the track. He did not leave me any room for turn 2. I gave him room for turn 1. I was clearly ahead of him, but he squeezed me over and did not give me room for turn 2, so I lose a bit coming out of that first chicane, but I close him right back down, as you can see, as everyone is going nose to tail here through the second chicane, and now I'm right back up on Sorokin, and I actually make a dive here. We make contact, and I pull out of it and give the position back to Sorokin. I really don't want to attack him too hard, but you can see here the very next turn I'm able to go to the inside, and though this one was clean, the last one was not. This one was clean, and now I get the warning for collision, oddly enough. But I make the move work, and I'm into P11 here on lap 1. So I move up ahead of my teammate, but I drop behind Sebastian Vettel, which actually I was happy to get that out of the way. But you can see here on lap number 3, through the last chicane, I get wide there, and Verstappen comes right up on me. And he actually makes a minor contact with me as he goes by, which was really weird because he had tons of room. I was not all the way to the left-hand side of the track, but we were on the straight, and he's got tons of room to the right, and I make no move to block or anything. I let him go by. It's Verstappen. I'm not racing Verstappen. I'm racing pretty much everyone else. And here I actually get a run because I had DRS, but I concede that position. Again, I'm not really racing Verstappen, so just trying to take advantage of that DRS. And you can see here by lap 6, that's Verstappen off in the distance as I'm at the end of this lap. So he just pulls away from me. But here on lap 6, I'm up to P4 because of many other cars have already pit, and I'm coming in for my stop here. So good pit entry there. I do not have pit assist on. And that was actually Verstappen in the pits there. And I'm getting held up here as the Sauber goes by. I lose about a second. So I get a 2.1 second stop, which is a great stop, but I lose about 1 second there as the Sauber goes into the pits, and I believe that was Leclerc, because there's his teammate, Marcus Ericsson, who's back ahead of me. I was actually racing Ericsson for a little while. He was one of the ones who benefited from the crazy weather situation and moved way up the grid, but I come out now on lap 7 in P15, just behind Marcus Ericsson, so I'm back to wheel-to-wheel racing with him. That 1 second might have been a difference, might have been enough to stay ahead of him. But this time I'm on the Super Softs. I have not used any what do you call them? Flashbacks. Not one. There was a brief yellow there. Somebody was off the track. Somebody ran into a problem. But I'm in P15. I'm on Super Softs. Ericsson's on the softs, so I've got the better tire. I've got about a half a lap worth of fuel, and there it is. Stoffel Van Dorn is out of the race. So that brief flash of yellow was Van Dorn going off. But I believe he was behind me on the track, so no change of position there. And you can see I'm setting up rich mode and overtake as I'm looking to take Ericsson here on the front straight. So we come around the final corner. I've already got him closed down. So I'm not even in DRS zone yet. And now, as I hit DRS, I'm already side by side, which just makes it that much easier to get past Ericsson. I'm also up into P12 as somebody else was in the pits there. And you can see I'm actually closing down the next group of cars in front, which at the back of that is Grosjean. So now on lap number 10, coming to the end of the lap here, starting lap 11. I'm in P11 on lap 11, and I'm getting pretty close to Grosjean, and as we go into the first chicane, I really get close on him. I actually missed the apex just a little bit. I almost put it into his gearbox, but I save it to hit the sausage curb there pretty hard. And as we get to the end now of the lap, the start of the next lap, Grosjean caught up to Alonso, and they are fighting for position now. So as these two battle it out, you can see that I'm closing them down. So Grosjean has moved ahead of Alonso, and I'm getting in. This is the penultimate lap here. Alonso now trying to go to the outside of Grosjean. They are side by side. There's not enough room through this chicane. It slows up Grosjean, and I'm going to be able to make the move and get past. But Alonso, he pulls away from me almost immediately. And here we are, lap 13. Lewis Hamilton wins the race, and I'm in P10. So I take advantage of the battle between Alonso and Grosjean, and I get ahead of Grosjean. I get between them, but I could not catch Alonso. My tires were falling off pretty hard here. Remember, I took extra laps on the super softs, and this final lap was pretty squirrely for me. So Alonso pulls away, but I'm able to hold off Grosjean, and that is P10. So I get it just into the points. I pick up a single point in the race. That's also going to up the AI difficulty level by one more. That's going to bring it up to 87 now as I grab that point. So Hamilton picks up the win, and Raikkonen moves up a spot from where he started to take P2, Bottas taking P3. Vettel from 12th gets all the way up to P4, but he was a little bit behind the others, about 7 seconds down. As a team, we are in 8th place with 26 points. Not too far off from the McLaren, but that's the best hope I have of moving up this season in the Constructors' standings. But in the race, for the season anyway, P13 overall, and Lewis Hamilton moves into the Constructors' Championship lead. Vettel and Bottas are tied 8 points down, with Raikkonen in 4th, still just 22 points behind. So the Mercedes and the Ferrari are very, very close in this battle. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.